And Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell is a great regular season coach, but in the playoffs, he's just completely terrible. This is now his second playoff loss early into his tenure as the Minnesota Vikings head coach. And something that I've noticed about Kevin O'Connell come playoff time is that the Vikings always come out flat in these playoff games under him. Remember when they lost to Daniel Jones and the New York Giants a few years ago? I mean, Daniel Jones was completely carving up that defense, and the offense, they were able to get a spark in the second half of that playoff game, but for the most part, Kevin O'Connell, as a play caller come playoff time, it just seems like he gets away from what made his team so successful. You're a 14-3 team. In the NFL, you are what your record says you are. And many of us, myself included, felt like we were going to see the Vikings rematching against the Detroit Lions in divisional round. And, of course, that's not going to happen with the way that Sean McVay just coached circles around Kevin O'Connell. So you get outplayed by Daniel Jones when you had Kirk Cousins as your quarterback. You think that Kirk Cousins is the problem, but then you have Sam Darnold, who looked better than what Kirk Cousins did that season, and then he looks flat in the playoffs. And as much as you can blame Sam Darnold and how he played for the Vikings losing in the fashion that they did in this game, Kevin O'Connell deserves a lot of the blame because this team didn't look prepared. From the first 5 minutes watching this game, you could tell that the Vikings were going to be in for a really rough afternoon. And Sean McVay just outcoached Kevin O'Connell, which Sean McVay is, we already know, one of the best coaches in the game. But I just expected more out of a coach that did such a great job of having his team play high-level football for the entirety of the regular season. And it just seems like Kevin O'Connell has a hard time being able to handle the bright lights, the pressure that comes with playing playoff football. And he isn't the only coach that has this problem. There are a lot of coaches that when they get to the playoffs, they get tense. They don't really have a lot of confidence in themselves if they don't get out to a fast start. And like Sam Darnold, Kevin O'Connell was on the sidelines looking rattled. And with only 8 minutes left in the game, you still have a shot to win it. Although in most people's eyes, the game was already out of reach. You know what they say, the game isn't over until the fat lady sings. And Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, they were shocked at how the Vikings offense just seemed to lack urgency. They just seemed like they already melded in. They waved the white flag, and they just conceded the win to the LA Rams. Kevin O'Connell, he has been in some trade talks. These are all alleged rumors. I doubt that we will see Kevin O'Connell get traded because regardless of the outcome of this playoff game, he still is a pretty good coach. I wouldn't say he's like an elite coach yet, because to be an elite coach, you have to win these kinds of games. And Sean McVay, you could just tell the difference between these two coaches on the sidelines tonight. When the Rams got out to that fast start, you could see the energy that Sean McVay had on the sidelines and the intensity that the Rams played with. And the Vikings, they just didn't seem to have any juice when they came out. It just seemed like they had no sauce about them. It just seemed like they were going about this game in a lackadaisical fashion. You don't really get Aaron Jones that involved. He had a pretty good season. Cam Akers had a few good runs, and you would have thought they would have gave him a little bit more work than what they did, especially with how bad their offensive line was in pass protection. The only way they were able to have serviceable offense tonight was when they got the ground game going, but this just was an awful display of coaching by Kevin O'Connell. I don't want this to make it seem like I'm trying to shade Sean McVay in any kind of way. Look, I get it. Sean McVay is a great coach, but with how brilliant Kevin O'Connell was at having Sam Darnold play at such a high level for the regular season, it just is a little shocking to me to just see him look completely shell-shocked on the sidelines. Like he had no answers in this game. He had no plan A, B, C, or D. No adjustments were made. It's just like after the first quarter was over, the Vikings already had lost the game. The players look lost. Kevin O'Connell looked lost. They looked shell-shocked, like they didn't know what the hell was going on.